So, as you probably can gather from the fact that I have almost 30 videos about the Arkhamverse figures, I am a massive Arkhamverse fan, and me and a friend are actually playing through all the games again, and I'm having a blast because those games are the pinnacle of everything in life. So, yeah, a long time ago I did a customized version of the Mattel Legacy Arkham City Two-Face, and you know, I'm really happy with this guy. He is super accurate to the game, more on that later, but recently I found the DC Collectibles Arkham City Two-Face, and I was perfectly content with this guy, but I've always been interested in the DC Collectibles figure, so I found him for sort of cheapish. Well, it was a good decent price, and I decided to pick him up. I thought about making this video, but I didn't really feel it was fair to compare a customized version of the Mattel figure and versus the stock version of the DC Collectibles figure, so I decided to customize this one. So what's different about this one is this eye is repainted. I did some minor repainting on the scarred side. I made it more of a straight line like it is in the game. Originally, like, a big part of the nose here wasn't scarred, a big part of the, well, a small part of the chin wasn't, and it was a bit uneven here. So, like, realistically it wouldn't be a straight line, but in the game it is a pretty straight line, so I figured it didn't really hurt. I also repainted the eye because the eye was really off position, and I sculpted his lips closed, because in the original for some reason the lips were slightly open, and it just looked a bit weird. So at least I didn't have to worry about making the lips symmetrical. What else did I do? You can see some more paintwork on the eyeball there. You can see some some red veins. Repainted the eyebrow. But yeah, let's do a comparison. So what I was about to say about this guy is that this guy is super accurate to the game. You can see it. I'm gonna put some reference pictures probably, but like these buttons here, they are this big in the game. A major thing I don't like about this figure is that the body itself isn't symmetrical. I mean, the suit is obviously, you know, Two-Face, but this shoulder is way higher up. And I said in the video I made about this guy that I didn't understand why, and I gathered it to it probably being... If you've seen American Horror Story, there's a guy named Larry there, I think, and he's a burn victim, and he sort of looks like Two-Face, actually. He's got like half his face burned. And his shoulder is permanently stretched up, and I found out that burn victims can have like the muscles contract up, so they're like sort of stuck in this position. And I see what DC Collectibles were going for, but in my opinion they should have just gone with a game-accurate appearance, which this guy is. Also, the suit is obviously a lot sharper, like in terms of detail, because this guy is just... I don't know, it just looks a bit rubbery, as you can see. Like, there is texture, but the texture isn't really sharp at all. Same with the arm. Like, you can see all this nasty texture here, and here it looks like he just like dipped his arm into some red paint or some stuff. This sort of goes into the articulation bit, but this guy has fully movable shoulders, and this guy has swivels, which is rather annoying. So this arm here is actually custom. It's I don't really remember what the arm was from, but I remember I made a joint and then I just attached this arm here so we can get some movement, because it was really annoying me. As you can see, the legs, same thing, sharp details on this one, sort of, it's just very soft. And I can probably, like, I think the reason is here because I read somewhere that the Arkham City Mattel figures were just scans from the, like, model scans from the game used, that they used that. So in the game, like, there's several layers of texture, and I feel like this is actually... Like, if you were to zoom in on a video game texture, like a PS3 video game texture, it would probably... It's actually... You can sort of see what happened here. I don't really know if I'm making any sense. It makes sense in my head, but I just can't really explain it. And since DC Collectibles went with a more traditionally sculpted way, they obviously caught a lot more detail, even though if it isn't perfectly accurate like this guy is. A thing that Mattel did do perfectly accurate though is the head sculpt. So the DC Collectibles head sculpt doesn't look like Two-Face in the game, really. It's like a generic handsome face and then, you know, scarred up, but Two-Face in the game doesn't really have all this texture. Like, he's got texture obviously, but it's a little bit more subdued. And the Mattel one, especially the unscarred side, just looks a lot more like Harvey in that game. Strangely enough is also that they're about the same size, but this guy here has a bigger head and just looks a bit more proportionate. This guy has really long legs, as you can see. This guy is also a bit wider. Yeah, like, I don't really know which figure is actually better, but I know for sure this one is more accurate. Moving to articulation, they both have, you know, sort of basic head joints. This is essentially just a swivel on Mattel's. And here it's a little bit more. I think it's a double ball peg, or it's just like a ball. No, I think it's a dumbbell joint, and you can get some nice tilt here, nice movement. As I mentioned earlier, the arms can go out decently enough. I mean, this arm is a bit crap, but you basically have like a normal type of arm joint, and single jointed elbows for both of them. Can't do 90, but I don't know, it's not anything I particularly care about for Two-Face. I mean, it would be nice if they had some sort of double jointed elbows, but this is also from like 2000, what, 2011? 2012? This bit here could be painted a little bit better. I think this is supposed to be his arm up here, like through the jacket arm. Might need to touch that up later on. The watch is very well sculpted, unlike this watch, which is just extremely plain. Neither of the figures are particularly capable of holding a gun. This guy a little bit more so, but his hand is also sculpted sort of inwards, so aiming it looks a bit daft. I don't actually have the gun, but I can just imagine it. For the coin though, Mattel opted to sculpt it into the hand, and this is pretty great because this means you won't lose it. And I mean, you're probably gonna always want Two-Face posed with his coin anyway. This guy has a loose coin, which is, I think it's absolutely amazing. This is just some blue tack I put in there to not lose it, but that's also the issue. I love that the coin is removable because it gives you a lot of posing options, but the coin is so small and it's very easy to lose. Like, I almost lost it once. It fell down like inside of my gaming chair, and it was a nightmare to find it again. But this coin has detail. It's just hard to make it out. So for now, I'm just gonna make him hold it for the most part. So moving back to articulation, so the difference here was that DC Collectibles have universal joints for the shoulders and Mattel has swivels. The difference here is that Mattel has these crappy DC Universe Classics hips that allow for, you know, sort of fullish articulation. But the thing is also, the leg articulation is really bad because of this jacket, so he can't really put his leg forward at all. I mean, it's Two-Face, isn't really going to do anything acrobatic or anything, but yeah, this guy can move straight out like that. Has a nice swivel hinge here. Not really 90, but like I said, what are you going to do with Two-Face, really? You're just going to have him bark orders. Oops. This guy, even less so, because of swivel here, but as you can see, it cuts it out. That cuts the seam off completely. It just looks awful. This figure has nothing in the ankles, and I don't think this guy has either. Nah. Sculpt-wise, if you go back to the legs here, this guy has perfectly straight legs. It's not really straight, actually. This leg is like slightly out, like he's resting his hip a little bit. But this guy is straight up bow-legged. like you see here. And it just started bothering me quite a bit. So the posture on this guy's torso is worse, but the legs are better. And then this guy's the complete opposite. So it's sort of funny how these figures contradict each other completely. Like, better sculpt, better likeness, good torso articulation, bad torso articulation, bad legs, decent legs, I guess. I mean, no, they're pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, both figures have a waist twist as well, so good to know, I guess. But what I was thinking about doing is I would take one of these heads and customize it into just like my own interpretation of Two-Face, more based on the animated series, where I want his face to be blue. I think I'll take this guy, because I love this head sculpt so much. And this guy is slightly closer to the animated appearance anyway, and I'm gonna sculpt a big ol' eyebrow here. And some nice white wispy hair going out. And then I'm gonna try to find a... I'm gonna find a way to make a complete suit that's just black and white, because I never really liked how the Arkhamverse went with the Nolan type of outfit, that part of the jacket is just like burnt. I quite like the clean white side, black side from the animated series, and I also don't really like that he's bald on one side. I really like the concept art they had in Arkham Asylum when you find his patient file, and he's got the hair and everything. He's got a purple suit there, but it looks a bit stupid, but I do like the hair design there more. Yeah, that's my little video comparison about these Two-Face figures. Get some more shots in here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video.
You're your own worst enemy, Harvey.
No, I'm your worst enemy.
I might have known you'd get in here first, Oswald. Justice never favors the weak.
Keep talking, Harv. I want that smile off the other side of your face if you ain't careful.